I've been wanting to make this video for a while now, but it has made its way to the bottom of the list until just recently, as there has been a lot of talk in the tech space around these capacitors that are on the backside of the RTX 3080 that are causing the card to crash. So I've noticed that in these videos that I've seen so far, the images of the capacitors and the PCB are of rather low resolution. And as a photographer, I know how difficult it is to get high resolution photos of very small parts, PCBs and such. So what I'm going to do is show you how to get a high resolution photo of these without the use of an expensive macro lens and a studio setup. And I don't have an RTX 3080 on hand. I'm not that fortunate, so I'm going to be showing you how to do this with a Radeon 7. But the same logic would apply to any PCB or electronic part. So it turns out that a flatbed scanner is not only useful for scanning documents, but also can be used for scanning just about anything that is flat, including PCBs. Now, keep in mind that a flatbed scanner has a focal plane of about 1 millimeter, and whatever is closest to the glass will be the sharpest. So you want whatever object you are scanning to be as close to the glass as possible. In this particular example, removing the backplate on the GPU would likely yield better results, but even with the backplate on, I think we'll get more than enough definition for the purpose of a high-res PCB schematic. Now, the scanner I have is made by Epson, so I will be using the Epson Scan software. The software is pretty straightforward. We just draw a box around what we want to scan and set the DPI. We really only need the capacitor cluster down here, but I'm going to scan a bit more just for context. My particular scanner has a DPI range of 50 all the way up to 12,800. I really never use the max resolution of 12,800. I usually stick to 6400 and sometimes 9600 when scanning film negatives. But for these purposes, 4800 will be plenty enough. If you think about it, the capacitor cluster we are looking to scan is only about 1 inch by 1 inch square. So at 4800 DPI, if we were to fit this image on an 8K display, it would fill all of the vertical pixels, as an 8K display only has 4,320 vertical lines. And 4800 DPI is available even on entry-level scanners. If we take a look at Amazon, the cheapest scanner is $70. And if we scroll down to the specs, it will scan at 4800 DPI. The scanner I am using is an Epson V600. It is primarily meant for high-resolution film scans, but still isn't really all that expensive at $220. Okay, so back to the scan. 4800 DPI and go. Now, keep in mind, this is nearly a 400 megapixel image, and the scan will take a couple minutes to complete, so I'll just fast forward through the progress bar. And now here we are in Photoshop with the final scan. As you can see, we have a nice high-res image. And if we want to, we could even inspect individual capacitors on the PCB if needed. And there you have it, high-res imaging without the need for an expensive macro lens or a studio setup. And Jay, Steve, Paul, if you want me to scan in your RTX 3080 PCBs, just send them on over. I'm sure that's not going to happen, but the offer does stand. We'll see you guys next time.